Okay, now another letter to assess. Let's take a look. So, first thing I have to say, I just had a look. 321 words, way too long. I know it says 180 to 200, and that's just a recommendation, but if you're doing 321 words, right, it's like the criteria, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but, you know, slightly, or just too long. Too much information. Don't want it. So, 3, 2, 1, not good. So, first then, as always, what do? Well, we go to the task. Let's take a look. So, referral letter to Dr. Williams to manage Mr. Foster's asthma. Review appointment, continue, refer to specialists for lung function and advice. Advice, okay. Refer to the specialist for lung function and advice about asthma management. Okay. Let's have a look at the first part. I'll just make it a little bigger. Zach Foster, 22, asthma. He's had it for 19 years. Been to hospital. Okay. A smoker. Right. Sister also with asthma. Builder, single, okay. Increasing use of Ventolin, short of breath, okay. Wheezing and coughing at night. Oh dear. Oops. Subjective sensation, reflux. Okay. Still smoking. Still smoking. Some people never learn. So let's take a look then. So I'll put the changes in. I got those. Okay. I'm going to refer Mr. Foster, 22-year-old single builder, who's going to go picture. I would make it a relative clause, so put a comma. Stay about asthma. Date of birth. Now you don't, you don't strictly speaking need to put in the age if you've got the date of birth immediately above. I usually don't advise it because we can work it out. You know what I mean? So, and also, do we need this? He's single. Do we really need that? And he's a builder. Now, if his occupation were relevant to his condition, then I would include it. But does the first thing the reader of this letter need to know that they are single and that they work in construction? I don't know, maybe construction, you can be breathing in different things, so maybe that might have relevance, but strictly speaking, I wouldn't actually bother including that. You could say aged 22, where you've got the DOB there, so I don't know, I probably wouldn't. Oh dear, sorry. Now, I see this phrase in nearly every letter. Your urgent evaluation and management are urgently needed, or your further evaluation and management, etc. Okay. Well, I would try and use slightly, if you want to stand out, management. Okay, so that's not bad, but management, control, management, control, etc. It's just, if you want to stand out, you have to paraphrase a little bit more. If you keep using the same expressions as everyone else does, it's hardly going to make you a standout candidate. All right. So, why are we using present simple? Here, it should be present perfect, has been. So that's the first thing. They're only allowed 6 or 7 mistakes, and, well, you want to try and cut them down as often as possible. So Mr. Foster has been, or who has been. Now, again, it depends if this is going to be a relative clause. So, Mr. Foster, because we've got has here, right? So, Mr. Foster, who is asthmatic, well, has been. So you could say who has been, has a sister. But again, do you really need to have this immediately there? I would mention it if you think that there's going to be some kind of family history of asthma or some related condition, but he is single, presumably he lives alone, he's single. Doesn't necessarily mean, let's just check, because I'm not sure. I don't think it says anything about he lives in the same house. So if he did, then that might have a bearing. If they lived in the same house and there's cats and lots of dusty carpets, I don't know, then that might have a relevance. But it's not so clear. So, okay. But again, I would maybe move this a little bit farther down. So talk about him at first. And you could maybe say another factor to bear in mind is his sister also is a sufferer, etc. Okay, in addition, he has eczema. Eczema, do we need that? Do we need that? So, okay. Asthmatic since the age of 3 years. Sister of having bronchial asthma. I probably put that lower down. In addition, he has eczema. Does that matter? I don't know. Averages a cat's name, and he is a smoker. Now, why do you keep using this? Present perfect, if you're talking about a period of time. He has been a smoker. Oops. He has been a smoker for 4 years with an average of half to 1 pack per day. I don't really know if you need to include that. You could simply say he's a smoker. You know, I mean, does it really matter how many, unless it's an excessive amount? Arthur was mentioning he's taking Ventolin, 2.10, but his compliance could not be assured. Now, we've spoken about this in the group, and other people have said things about it. So, compliance, it's a value judgment, so we would probably use adherence instead. Adherence could not be assured. So that's better, I think. Get rid of that. Mr. Foster's present problem was discovered. Well, was it now? Were you on a voyage of discovery in your clinic? I don't think so. So, and we don't really need this. Simply explain now, 3, 2, 1, right? If you're using all these kind of things, adding information that you don't necessarily need, if you're extending things, adding things to your sentences to clarify, why wouldn't you simply say what you want to say immediately? Then you will get to 200 words. So, I'd get rid of that. I just put the date. Mr. Foster visited, or put, okay, on, let me get rid of that. So, okay, Mr. Foster, on the 11th, blah, 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 Mr. Foster visited my clinic on that day. We don't need that. After he had suffered, well, this was going on for a while, it seems. So you could say complaining of suffering, or something. Let's take a look at again. So the last 3 weeks, so this has been going on for 3 weeks. Shortness of breath, coughing, wheezing, etc. Yeah, so 3 weeks. So he suffered from shortness of breath and for a period of 3 weeks. So this is a little bit long, to the extent of waking him up. Well, we know what he's being awoken from, so you don't really need all this information. You can simply use a summary. On the 11th of 10th, Mr. Foster visited my clinic complaining of shortness of breath, wheezing, and coughing. You can, that would be, you go visited my clinic, complaining of shortness of breath. We don't really need that. Wheezing. And coughing, to the extent of waking him up. Coughing, which woke him up, or something. To the extent of waking up from sleep. And an increase of the need for ventilating. Now, I wouldn't include that. I put the symptoms. So, right, what they don't like when you're writing a paragraph, they don't like it when you jump from this to this to this to this, So you need to present it in a logical way. So I would put all the symptoms together, then what he was taking, or what the second important thing is in a paragraph. I would do it in that way. Instead of complaining of increasing need, well, after he had suffered. He didn't come to you and said, oh, it's so bad I've got an increased need. So you need to be clear as possible. So waking him up. In addition, complaint symptoms of gastroesophageal reflux. You can maybe put that afterwards, so you've got all the symptoms together. Okay, let me just turn that off. Right. Put all the symptoms together, and then make another relative clause which led to him increasing his dose, or to combat this, he had been, or he has been, increasing his use of Ventolin. Okay, so that's not so bad now. After the week, Mr. Foster was seen again, or simply say returned, with no improvement of the asthma symptoms, well, of his symptoms. You don't even need to say it. You can just say, because we know what symptoms you are referring to, with no improvement of his symptoms, as he neither stopped, with no improvement of symptoms, as he had neither. So make it past perfect, because we've got two past actions. He had not stopped, nor did he take. So make it past perfect, as he had neither stopped smoking nor took his medications. As he had neither stopped smoking. Okay, regularly, and don't forget your punctuation there. Nevertheless, if it's capitalized, you need a full stop. His abdominal symptoms improved. I suppose that's the reflux you mentioned. A plan was given to him in the form of continue using pentobarbital, accelerating, became time as soon as he remembers, try to make him be effective respiratory specialists. On the lights of, in light of. In light of the above. Be gratefully appreciated if you could see Mr. Foster as soon as possible for better management, or better, if you don't want to keep using management, make better control of his condition. Please do not hesitate to contact me if any further inquiry is needed. Okay, so let me just put this onto the single page. So it's not too bad, but there's some stuff that we do not need. 321 words. Too long. So we can cut some of this stuff down. We can shorten the sentences. You don't need to expand them or make them so long. So in general, that's not bad. I would just work on making it more concise, making it as concise as possible. Okay, right. That's it for now. On to the next letter.